What's the word, y'all? It's Pt.1 Reaper training, and y'all now tuned into the Reaper Motivation Podcast. And so this is gonna be a two-part video slash podcast. I'm gonna drop this on YouTube and on my channel, and this is gonna be a good one. I feel like this is one of the ones, like when I made the channel, the whole purpose of it obviously was a motivating aspect, and part of motivation is giving game and dropping gems, and I kind of got away from that a little bit. I talk about myself a lot, and I feel like this would be more of a useful podcast, especially from the title y'all can tell, this is definitely gonna be aimed towards my fellas out there, particularly my younger dogs. And let's get right into it. So first and foremost, the reason why I made this list is because I sat back the other day and I do a reevaluation of my goals every so often during the year. If you guys, it's going to be a part of the list, but goals are a big thing with me. Goals are a big thing with this channel, and the purpose of it is just to make sure that you're on track and you're working towards something. You know, it's very easy going in your day-to-day in your life, just kind of moseying by, just living day by day. You know, whatever happens, whatever doesn't. You know, and when you have goals and that you keep reevaluating yourself and keep touching back and following up on, it makes things a lot better because it's like you have something to look forward to. Like, honestly, I couldn't imagine just going to work and coming home and that's my day. I just watch TV or play video games or something like that until I gotta go to bed. You know, that's kind of when you feel that emptiness and that void in your life, and that's kind of what drives a lot of people, I feel, to depression. You know, because it's like after 2, 3, 4, 5 years of it, you like, God, bro, is this fucking life? This is all there is to this shit? And then, you know, like I said before in other podcasts, you know, if you can't fill your life with something positive, you're naturally going to fill it with something negative. So whether that be a toxic ass significant other, whether that be drugs or whatever the case may be, if you don't have anything positive to fill your time with, by default, you're going to want to fill it with something negative, because at least the negativity is something more than what you had, which was just boredom and like a feeling of not having a purpose, you know. So that's part of the reason why I'm making this video. And number one, man, and this is like, we're now in the time of the Manosphere. And if y'all don't know about the Manosphere is essentially just like, you know, with the Kevin Samuels, the AMS, the alpha male, beta male shit, all that, the toxic masculinity, the femininity. I never could get that word out right, but all that stuff, like all that's a part of what's called the Manosphere. And the Manosphere was kind of made up some years ago, basically by a bunch of dudes who was kind of mad because, you know, if you're a single dude and you're dating, the dating game is gonna piss you off. I could guarantee you that shit. There's like no doubt about that. And, you know, some dudes felt like they was getting the short end of the stick, especially with the feminism wave kind of taking over and dudes feeling they was left out. So that's what made the Manosphere, right? And there's some good things about the Manosphere. There's some bad things. Where I'm making this video predominantly because of the bad things. Because when I look a lot at these men now, and it's no fault of their own, these men now, we're looking at dudes who feed on being, I guess they call it toxic. But honestly, like, my idea of toxic is simply just you're bored, so you want to make everybody else's life miserable. You know what I mean? That's just essentially what it is. You don't have a purpose in life, so your purpose is just to fuck with people and to be this catalyst of chaos and negativity and envy. And a lot of that comes from men not being taught some important things when they was younger. You know, we all, not all of us, but a lot of us grow up in single parent households. And as a man specifically, like, my mom did a really good job with me, but you really can't teach a boy how to be a man if you're not a man yourself. And then that's just not even just teaching, just watching how somebody walks and acts and how they carry themselves and, you know, how to deal with situations. And that's part of the reason why, like, you see these dudes, like the list I'm gonna give you, honestly, this is something that you should have heard when you was like maybe 14, you know what I mean, 14, 15 years old. This is something that you should have heard years ago. This is something that men should just somebody should drop this knowledge on you, whether you listen to it or not, because there's a lot of knowledge that I was given at different points in time where I was kind of like, whatever. I don't give no fuck about what you talking about. But it was given. You know what I mean? Somebody put the effort forth to have it. Somebody had the knowledge to give it. And, just having that opportunity is, it's something that's invaluable. Because at some point in time, when life kind of bites you on your ass and tells you, hey, you should have used that, it's never too late to go back and use the knowledge that you was given. It just takes some time. So first things first on the list of the 10 most important things a man should have in his life and he should focus on when he's young is going to be, number one, develop a career. Now, this list isn't really, I guess it's not really none of them is more important than the other, but this is the number one most important. Out of everything on this list, I'm going to say, well, maybe two might be more important, but this is probably the most important one on the list. I got lucky. I got very lucky early on that some people who I really don't even necessarily know right now, I'm going to have stories with a lot of these, but I don't even know them, but like they dropped knowledge and gems on me early on. Like I'm talking right out of high school, during high school, that like was invaluable because it helped me down the line. Because sometimes all it takes is somebody to give you a little bit of knowledge that'll change your whole course of life. And the big thing, the reason why this is so important is if you, and this is not me shitting on anybody who works these type of jobs, but let's say you're a security guard, right? Being a security guard is not bad, and you can, in certain circumstances, make good money as a security guard. Like if you're overseas and, somehow you got a clearance or something like that, you can make good money doing that. But here's the problem with this, right? And here's what, like, a lot of people don't realize. If you don't have a career, and a career is mainly developed by having, like, a skill set, a trade, a specialized degree, like a degree in, pediatrics or engineering or something like that. If you don't have those type of skills, what's going to happen is you'll just kind of float from job to job, but you never really know how much money you can get, how much money you warrant going from job to job. So I'll give an example, right? Let's say you're a security guard and you're out, and let's say you get a job that's paying you like $20 an hour. You know what I mean? You get a good, solid little gig. It's not too hard. You kind of sit around. But let's say you lose that job, right? For one, you may not be able to find another job in that same field at that moment in time. It's all by chance. It might be need for security guards. It might not be. Let's say you do find a job. You might be making the same amount of money. You might not be, right? Like at this point in time, now you're like, all right, I got to switch it up. Now go be a waiter or some shit like that, right? You might be a waiter at a restaurant that makes good money. You might be a waiter at a restaurant that doesn't make good money. You might leave that job and jump around. And what you can, the common theme is not being stable, right? And the big thing, the reason why this is so important to me is I got lucky when I was in college. There was a dude I had met, let me see if I can remember bro name, Ezra something with an E. I can't remember his name because we wasn't like really cool, but this is what I mean by like just getting gems from random people that helped me down the line. But when I was joining the Marine Corps, I just wanted a challenge. I was excited about it. I felt like it could help me like go to school. Like I knew I wanted to be something special in life, but I didn't know what course I can go, and I just was, fiending for someone to give me some information to help me out a little bit. And when I went to college and this dude got at me, he was also joining the Army. And he was like, yo, whatever you do, bro, don't go into the Marine Corps and just get any type of random job or, become some type of special forces, whatever. Make sure you get you a trade that you can use and get out that motherfucker. Because if you don't do 20 years or if you get hurt or whatever the case may be, learning how to shoot some motherfuckers isn't going to put food on the table. And he said that, bro, and I sat and I thought, I was like, yo, that's a good ass point. And I was like, and it's a funny story too, because I should have kept him around. The reason why we didn't like get that cool was because he was fucking this Puerto Rican girl that I was dealing with that was fine as hell. So I was kind of salty about that, just being young. It's a whole nother story. But anyhow, but when he said that, I was like, damn. Like, bro, that was some real shit. And I'm like, all right. So I went back to my recruiter. I was like, hey, well, first I had to think because I didn't know anything. Like, I didn't grow up in houses, so I never really got my hands on like doing stuff with my hands. I never got the experience, so I was like, well, what's a good thing? So first thing in my mind was being a mechanic because I just figured, there's always cars. Everybody needs a mechanic. I could be a mechanic. But I didn't have the knowledge for it, and I got to my recruiter, and he was like, well, our option is, being an electrician. And I was like, I don't know much about electricity, but it sounds pretty good. And, so I chose to be an electrician. I'm going to tell y'all right now, 150%, that was the best decision that I've made in my entire life. Like, I would say number one would be just joining the Marine Corps, and number two would be becoming an electrician in the Marine Corps. I wouldn't have had the opportunities today, and I wouldn't be in the position I am today coming from my background had I not made that choice. And that dude just saying that one thing to me changed my entire life, because I put it to y'all like this. Back in January, I got laid off from my job. I was a generator tech at Auxiliary System. I got laid off in January. In a week, I had 2 interviews. I was back working in a month making that same amount of money I was making. I'm not going to get into the numbers on here. And since I've been at that job now for about 3 months, three and a half months. I've gotten 3 more job offers for the same position in that time frame. But then people just hit me up because of my resume. When you have a trade, bro, no one can take that shit from you. And you have a set amount of money. And here's the thing. The longer you're in that trade, the more you learn, the more you have, you can keep making more money. I started out in 2018 as an electrical helper on a fucking boat making $12 an hour. In 2 years, I was making double what I was making when I started. And in about 8 months from when I first started, I was making about $10 more than what I was making when I first came in the field. If I had decided to do some shit like just be a security guard, just get some side job, which I did. I worked at Ruby Tuesday for a minute, but I knew that wasn't where I was staying at. I look at every job as a means to an end. And honestly, bro, your path to success and your path to greatness is going to have a lot of twists and turns, and you can't build too much of an attachment, because at the end of the day, no one gives a fuck about you more than you. You know what I mean? And that was a decision that really changed my life. So as a young man, bro, you got to develop a career. The first thing that you should be doing when you get out of high school is saying, what do I want to do? And I understand, especially in the black community, we emphasize school, go to school, yada, school. And there's nothing wrong with school, again, if you're getting a skill from that school. Don't go to school and get no fucking degree in pottery. Don't go to school and get a degree in basket weaving or some dumb shit like that. Don't do that. You know what I mean? If you go into school and if you don't feel like you have what it takes, like part of the reason why I didn't stay in school, I'm very intelligent and I have a lot of different skill sets, but the reason why I chose not to stay in college and pursue a degree like an engineer or some shit like that was because I know I don't like school that much, so I wouldn't have been successful. It'd have been harder for me to go to school and do that than it would have been for me to go and start my career as an electrician. I'm telling you right now, there's nothing wrong with being a blue collar worker. Let me tell you something. He took a bit of my buddy, right, one of the Marines I work with, his parents gave him this game fresh out of high school. This man, I was talking to him last drill. In about 2 years, he said he's probably going to be making about $140,000 a year. No degree, no school debt, none of that. He had an early start. As soon as he got out of high school, he got the hustling. He joined the Marine Corps, got him a trade job, was working at he just, you know what I mean? He got a running head start. And again, this is why I'm making this list. Because if someone had got at me the way they got at him when I was 18, it would have changed my whole, I'd have been leaps and bounds above where I'm at now. You know what I mean? And that's another thing of why I'm making this list is a lot of the old heads now, It used to be, bro, being an OG, being an old head used to mean that you had wisdom. That was something that I used to hear a lot when I was little, right? Wisdom. You know, old people had wisdom. They had game that they can give you from just life experiences and being street smart that you can use your entire life. A lot of these old head now, especially dudes, these motherfuckers be jealous, envious dick munchers. That's exactly what the fuck they are. Like they don't want to give game. They just want to be these little fucking waste of space that just pass on negativity and talk shit to the young dudes and shit like that. They not giving nobody no fucking game. And we need, if more men was willing to help another, especially black men, because we are so jealous, bro. Like I feel like men are jealous in general, but we are so envious and jealous of each other, bro. And that shit has to stop. And it's gonna stop with us. Like being hustlers. And again, everything I'm talking about, if you get on your goals and you setting goals and you're developing a career, you don't have a reason to be jealous because you're hustling. You see what I'm saying? So that's the big thing about a career. Definitely develop a career. If you're 18, 19 listening to this, that is the most important thing. You know what I mean? And it's going to take some time, bro. There's nothing wrong with you know, taking some time to really figure out what it is that you want to do with yourself. Right? So that's number 2 on the list for most important things for young men. Carry yourself with dignity and respect. Well, just learning how to carry yourself in general. This one was a big one for me because it took me a long time to figure this out. And this is, again, going to go to, like, living in, like, a single-parent household because you learn things that, I mean, you don't get a chance to see and learn things that you should see when you're at a certain age. So, for example, for me, right, like, when I started working in the workforce, I kept getting into fights with people, right? I still do now, but I kept getting into it with people, and it was part of the reason why I started martial arts because I needed another outlet to keep me from fucking murdering somebody. Because I used to go to work and be like, bro, today's the day I hit somebody with one of these fucking hammers. Like, it used to drive me crazy, and the reason why that was going on was because I wasn't carrying myself how a man's supposed to carry himself. And I'm gonna tell y'all why. I'm gonna tell y'all what I mean by that. So, a lot of the problems, and if you're somebody who gets into a lot of arguments, if you're somebody who gets into a lot of fights as a man, I'd say almost 75%, maybe 80% of what you go through would stop if you carried yourself in a more masculine, no-nonsense way. If you stop being so joking, so goofy, so, you know, kind of like a dancing clown type shit like that. If you just carried yourself in a more stoic, cool, calm, laid back, you know, confident manner, a lot of people would stop fucking with you. And the thing was, when I was growing up, right, with me, I never had any bullies growing up, but the reason why was I didn't have to develop that frame, that masculine frame, because what I would do, I would just fight. Like, up until I was about, until I was about maybe like 10, 11 years old, if you called me fat, I'd swing on you before you got to the T in fat. Immediately. It wouldn't even like, you'd be like, that's why you, bow. As soon as you said that shit, I hit you. And it didn't matter how big you was, how many, if I done fought, when I was in elementary school, like, I think I had one bully, his name was Mark, and he knew my trigger word was to call me fat, so he would say that and we just get to fighting. He stopped because one time we fought and I kicked him in the stomach and he got me in a headlock. And I bit his finger and I broke it. Like I bit it and turned my head and broke it. That's part of the reason why I got thrown out of school when I was in second grade. But that was how I was. And even in middle school, all that shit. Like, if you fucked with me, I wasn't gonna argue with you, none of that. I was gonna beat your ass. And that was how. And what happens is, not too many people want conflict. Like, I'd say 50%. Let's say this. Let's say about 80% of people don't want conflict as far as just arguing, right? Most people don't want that, right? If you take that number and say how many of those people who do want conflict want to fight, you could probably half that. Not too many people really want that physical confrontation. So, like, because people would see me, and yeah, I was just kind of goofy. I had glasses. I was a little fat kid. And I was nice and, you know, super sweet and yada, yada. And you may even, if you're a dude that likes to bully people, you might look at it and be like, man, I want to try, bro. But that crazy fat motherfucker just slammed somebody on the head the other day. I'm gonna leave him alone. And that's kind of how I got through all of my younger years without getting into bullies and all this other shit. But when you become an adult, right? I can't go to work and punch the first person that bothers me. I'm a lose my fucking job. So because of that, I kept getting into it with people and getting on the verge of, and it was a lot of problems I was going through when I first started working, and that came from me not realizing. I got a buddy, my homeboy Dave. I was just at his crib the other night with his wife and kids and all that. We was vibing. He dropped again. People dropping gyms. He dropped a gym on me when I was like 20. When we first started hanging, we was at a bar, or we was at a restaurant. We was at Hooters in El Paso. We was there for a field out, and I'm vibing, and they was trying to finesse so that the lady could get me a drink so she wouldn't card me, because I looked young. I was 20. And he was like, dude, you act like you're young. And I was like, what you mean? What the fuck that mean? He was like you act like you're 20. Like, you gotta stop acting like you're 20, you gotta act like you're older. I'm like, well, what the fuck does acting like you're 20 mean? I was like, and it didn't click at that point. I say it took another, it probably took another 2-3 years before it actually clicked what he meant. But when I changed up and stopped all that goofy, laughing and everything's funny, and when I stopped that shit, people stopped playing with me. And I in the last year or so, now albeit though, I'm also a lot more, because I'm a bit more stable. I got bond money, so I'll beat your ass. So it's like I'm more willing to get into it with people if I need to. Like, I'm not as trying to avoid stuff as I was when I first moved out, because I was like, I don't want to be homeless. So I was like, well, let me chill out. But now it's a little different. But when I changed up my frame, that's when shit started changing. And a lot of times, and again, this is all about how you carry yourself. And I'm a bit different because I grew up in a way, growing up in New York when I did, in Mount Vernon, if you went outside, you was going to be fighting. It wasn't, unless you just wanted to be bullied. Going to the park, I used to every cookout, every school, every time I went to a park in a new neighborhood, if my aunt was watching me and I went out to the park with her, I was fighting. It just was something that you had to do, just being outside. But if you're somebody who didn't grow up doing that, you didn't, or just don't have the stomach to be fighting, there's a lot of chances you can be getting bullied. There's grown adults who get bullied at work. I've seen it. In the Marine Corps, I've seen people get bullied. I've seen, bullying is not something that stops at an age limit. It can happen for your entire life. You know what I mean? And just being, part of being anxious and being, unconfident comes from people fucking with you not knowing how to respond. Because if you're not a violent person, you just how do I get people to stop bothering me? How do I get people to respect me? And a lot of that will be gained from just carrying yourself differently. You know what I mean? Not being so fucking friendly. And and honestly, and when it really clicked, right? So he said that when I was 20. I kept getting into shit. I finally said, actually, when I left the shipyard in 2020, right, and I got a new job, I was working at SRC. When I was at SRC, I told myself, ain't no more passes. Next person that really played with me on this boat, I'm beating the fuck out of. Fuck this job. I didn't care. But I also said that I was going to stop being so damn joking. I was going to stop being this little bubbly, friendly kind of dude. I was going to start carrying myself like I should carry myself. And people stopped fucking with me, but there was something that somebody said that resonated. I forgot what was happening, but they was like, y'all don't joke with Devontae like that. One of the dudes had said that. And the dude was like, Devontae doesn't put himself out there like that. You do. And that, when he said that, I didn't react to it, but I was kind of hyped, because I was like, finally, I finally mastered how to fucking control myself. You know what I mean? Because again, it's something that but again, if you were young and you had a male in your life who understood it, he could have gave you that game and put you on to where you knew how important that was. You see what I'm saying? And this is something that is super important. And I'd say, this is probably one of the more, everything on this list I would say is important, but that is super big, bro. You need to know how to carry yourself. You need to, and I'm not saying you gotta walk around like the Terminator with this scowl on your face and be all mean. Not that at all. But just, don't be so super talkative. Don't be all, ha ha. all goofy, doing this little, like, you know, hey guys, how you doing? How's your day going? Like, fuck all that shit. Like, you a man. You know what I mean? Act like, you come in, how you doing? You conduct yourself. You know what I mean? I'm not saying don't laugh, but stop with that goofy shit. Act how you want people to treat you. You know what I mean? And you know, people still might try you. You know what I mean? I'm not saying they're not. People, you know, we just have some dickheads in the world who just, you know, want to mess with people. I'm not going to deny that at all. But it gives, like I said, most people don't want actual confrontation, right? Most people. It's like 50% of people don't want confrontation. Maybe 85% of people don't want you to put hands on them. So just the way you're acting, somebody may think, like, you ever heard the saying, they don't know how to take you? That's because it's like, I don't know, this motherfucker, he kind of quiet, like, he cool, but I don't know, he might just do some shit and stab me or something like that. Like, you just don't know how to take him. So it mitigates a lot of that nonsense. And man, I really wish that I had, like, if there's one thing I wish I had knew about earlier on in life, bro, because this is not even just with people, with women, bro. Like, if your woman doesn't respect you right now, if you got a girlfriend or just anything like that, if they don't, like, if you was to act more masculine, just carry yourself a bit different, I guarantee you that woman start treating you totally different. I'm not talking about putting more bass in your voice or all that other shit. Nah, just carrying yourself with respect and dignity. You know what I mean? Standing up for yourself when you have to. And, you know, just little things like that. You'd be surprised on how things change around. Like, I know, like, I went out with a girl like a month ago, and we was on a date. She's a little older than me. I tend to deal with women that are older than me for some reason, but she's a little older than me, and she was like, "How old are you again?" I was like, "I'm 24." She was like, "Yeah, you don't act 24." And I was like, and it's not nothing I'm doing, but I just carry myself differently. And your whole life, I'm telling you, like, whatever your problem is, if you was just to change how you act and how you carry yourself, your entire life would change. You know what I mean? And that includes standing up for yourself. Like, don't take no, like, one thing that you need to, that's really big, and I want to touch on before I move on to the next, is you need to stand up for yourself. Like I said, some people still gonna try you. Even if you carry yourself in a masculine way, people still gonna do little shit. Check them. Check that shit. Do it naturally. Like, hey, bro, don't talk to me like that. You know what I mean? It doesn't have, you don't gotta be all rowdy and flip some shit. Don't do all that. Just, don't talk to me like that. Or, I don't appreciate how you just setting boundaries and checking people when they do dumb shit. Man, that should have changed. Like, I be seeing certain things. Like, when dudes be in relationships and they girl be calling them a bitch, and I'll be like, man, it could not be me. Like, you got me fucked up. You gonna respect me. I don't give a fuck. Like, I don't care what. Like, you gonna respect me. It is what it is. I don't give a fuck about nothing else. So, like, that's something that you gotta respect. Has to be big. You respect others. You be polite to everybody else, but that is big. You need to carry yourself with respect and dignity. Getting into the next one. This one's gonna be brief because I kind of talked about it in the beginning, but setting goals, bro. What I would recommend to everybody watching this that's young, as a young man, in the beginning of the year or right before the beginning of the year, set some yearly goals, set some monthly goals, and set some long-term goals. It just keeps you on track. Right? And write them down. Put them down on something. Like, I have a little list on my phone that I have, it's like a placard in my on my home screen of goals that I have for throughout the year. And some people say put a time frame on them. I would say that's a good idea, but shit comes up, and I don't want to have to keep changing time frames on my goals. So I just have them there, and I know I'm working towards them. Every day I do a little something differently to work towards that. But goals are super duper duper important, and for the same reason I mentioned before, bro, if you don't have goals, you're just living life aimlessly. You don't have anything to work towards. You don't have anything to look forward to. I'm gonna be honest with you, like, I hated when I worked at Huntington Ingalls. I hated that fucking job. I'm talking about, I hated that job so much. I used to, when I left work, I would block like, cause we worked on a boat. So as I was coming off the boat, right, we got off at 3:30. At 3:31, I was blocking my supervisor's number until the next day. Don't talk to me. I don't want to see your face. I don't hear you breathe, bitch. Leave me alone. I hated that job. I hated the people. I hated that boat. I hated the Navy. I couldn't stand that job. What made that job bearable and what made me not hate my life in general, like when I left work, I was the happiest person ever. I used to always say that. I used to be like, yo, when I leave, bro, I don't care about the jobs. I live pretty close. Like I can still hear like the horn, like they played to let people know it's lunchtime, shit like that. I still hear it. Never bothered me because people ask like, how do you live so close to work? I would hate that. I was like, man, when I leave this bitch, I don't care about this job. You know why? Because I had goals and hobbies that I did outside that job. I was always working towards something. I was going to school. I was doing something for the Marine Corps. I just had other things to make me know that this wasn't everything in life. And I don't have to end my fucking life here. But if I didn't have the gym, if I didn't have school, if I didn't have goals, if I didn't have the Marine Corps, oh, I'd have been miserable as fuck. Oh my God. I couldn't even imagine. I would have been in straight up depression. Like that's how much I hated that job. And again, a lot of that stemmed from what I talked about in the last step, you know, carrying yourself a certain way. A lot of people wouldn't have played with me at that job had I been carrying myself another way. But man, like it just it's different. Like just having something to work towards is always better. So setting goals is big, bro. It'll change, just like I said the other one, it'll change your life. It'll change how you feel about things. It'll change how people, it'll just change everything. Set your goals and work towards those goals every fucking day. Hustle. Get after it. You're going to be tired. You're going to be unmotivated. But I'm telling you right now, especially when you start, right, when you start carrying yourself in a respectful way. So you're going to start cutting people off. And again, all these tie into the later goals, but you'll start cutting people off. Like if you start demanding your respect and carry yourself in a respectful way, if you got a friend that's kind of a dick and he's real jealous, you'll cut his ass off. The fuck from around me. I don't want to talk to you. I mean, stay from around me. If you got a woman that you dating who doesn't respect you, she got male best friends and all stuff of goofy shit, like you'll be like, man, fuck this. You know what I mean? Because you got goals and you care about your self-respect. You won't let nobody play with you. So, you know, it'll just change how you live your life, honestly. And so that's that one. So next on the list we have take fitness seriously. And I'm going to stop at 5. I'm going to make this a 2-part series. So it's this one and one other. But this one is big for me. This is really big. And so right now we're in a time with this fat shaming bullshit. And again, this is why I made this list for men, because it'd be kind of, I don't want to like be too, I'm gonna be harsh on y'all. Like I'm gonna get in like some of these topics, I'm gonna get on y'all for real. So but if you're a dude, specifically if you're under 6 foot, right, you're already not tall, you have to be in shape. You have to be in shape. I'm going to go at this from a bunch of different angles. Number one, first and foremost, especially in the black community, we are dying by the thousands. I'm talking about I think 10 to 15,000 black people die per month from obesity problems. I'm talking about the sleep apnea, diabetes, high blood pressure, heart failure, heart disease, all those like obesity problems. We're dying by probably more than we die from gang violence. I haven't looked up that statistics, but that stat. But I honestly feel like that'll probably outdo gang violence and police killings. If you looked at how many black people die from fucking obesity. And if you're black watching this, I can almost guarantee you know somebody right now who struggles to live because of obesity. Like they have a hard time walking, or they're constantly having to go to the hospital, or health problems, they can't breathe right. You either know somebody who's died from obesity, so they had some amputations, so they had amputations from diabetes, or they died from heart failure, all those things. And I guarantee you either know they're related to you. I guarantee that they're also related to you, or they're just friends and people that you know. We all know it. Bro, obesity is killing us by the dozens, and we don't take care of ourselves. And it is your health, you get one body and you get one life. Take care of your fucking self. I know people now, they got this new thing. like there's some type of like nobility in being fat and eating snacks and not taking care of yourself and being 40, 50 pounds. Fuck all that. Take care of yourself, bro. You get one life. You get one body. Take care of it. You know what I'm saying? And if you're a dude, that needs to be on your list. You know, and going into it from another angle, as far as dating, like I said, bro, if you're short, you're already at a disadvantage not being 6 feet tall, right? You're already at a disadvantage right then and there. Guys talk about it all the time, but you can't change that. But if you're kind of short and you're fat, bro, you fucking up. You crazy as hell. And I'm telling you right now, people, you know, you got the big boy season and you got the girls talking about something. I like my man with guts and I'm obsessed with it. I love the man boobs. Get the fuck out of here. Let me tell you something. I've been fat a majority of my life, right? I'll tell you right now, bro, when I am lean, it is a whole nother world. If you talk to anybody who's ever been fat and lost weight, they'll tell you it's a whole nother world. Yeah, I ain't gonna feed this bullshit. And I know, like, a lot of the fat shaming things, it's really more so for women than it is men anyway. Because, like, you know, you look at how people act towards Lizzo as opposed to Rod Wave and shit like that. They joke at him a lot more, but it's frowned upon with Lizzo. But I'm telling you right now, if you was to talk to a lot of bigger women and ask them, hey, you know, do you feel like you have this, you feel like it's just as easy for you to get in a relationship as it is for a woman that's skinny? They'll tell you, fuck no. We lie to ourselves with a lot of this shit. But I'm telling you right now, bro, as far as dating, when it comes to fitness, bro, you need to be in shape. I'm not saying you gotta look like The Rock. I'm not saying you need to look like Ronnie Coleman. I'm not even saying you need to be... I'm not even saying you need to have like big muscles and abs and shit. All you have to do is just look decent in clothes. You know what I mean? Be around... If you're around 18, 17% body fat as a dude, that's cool. You're not going to win no competitions like that or no shit like that, but you're going to look presentable, right? You need to be in shape as a dude. And a lot of, like, dudes don't know this, but the part of the reason why women like men that are so tall is because unless you're dealing with one of these G.I. Joe hoes that's, like, super masculine and shit, we're going to get on that later. But women want to feel feminine and they want to feel safe around you. So you being taller is, like, more imposing. You being bigger is also imposing too. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like as an adult, I can count on one hand, even before I mastered the second thing I talked about with the respect and dignity and carrying yourself. Even before I mastered that, I can count on one hand how many times somebody's tried me at a club. I didn't think it was really them trying me. It was just like I get like I was getting stares one night when I was with a group of friends, but it was really because my other friend was doing some dumb shit. But people don't try me when I go to bars and shit like that. And the main reason why they don't try me is because of my stature. I'd be lying to you if I thought it wasn't. Because there ain't no guns in the club. You know what I'm saying? So if you get to play with me in the club, I could beat the fuck out you before you get out there. And truth be told, me personally, like, if I'm in a place where I know you don't have a gun, and you get to fuck with me, I'm going to assume that you're going to try to shoot me or stab me or some shit if you leave this area. So I'm either choking you out or I'm knocking your ass the fuck, or I'm a disable you to the point to where I can go and leave before, you know what I mean, anything gets hectic. But I'm gonna fuck you up. So, you know, being in shape will change a lot of things in your life, bro, and you need to take that shit seriously. And you will feel better about yourself. Your testosterone drops when you're not taking care of yourself, you know what I mean? And then another thing, like, is this, they lie so much, but there's other thing. It was like, oh, you know, big dudes fuck better. Bro, I've been big. That shit is tiring. If you overweight, first off, if you overweight and you like me, I sweat a lot when I'm real fat. I mean, I sweat a lot in general, but like when I'm fat, I sweat a lot. That's number one. Number two, bro, that shit's tiring. I train a lot. Like, even when I'm fat, I'm normally like when I get fat, it's just I wasn't paying attention to my diet enough. But for the most part, even when I'm fat, I'm training 4 to 5 times a week. Like, if my diet is no point, I'm still gonna be big. But I still train, and I be tired. So you ain't gonna tell me that shit is cap. So you need to take care of yourself, bro. That needs to, and then you building those habits now, and putting as a priority now, it'll carry on with you later on in life. So when you get to 30, 40, 50, shit like that, you'll at least be more apt to just be active, just to go for a walk every now and again, and to put down the fucking soda, and to not eat as many, like, sweets and shit like that. Like, it's just little habits that you'll develop, and it'll, you know, be a part of you. You know what I mean? So being in shape is very, 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 very important. You need to take your health seriously, right? So that's number one. And then the next one and the last one for this part of the podcast and video, this is going to be as dangerous as possible. Now, I am a firm believer, bro, that as a man, you should be able to defend yourself and your family in any way that you may need to. Now, like I talked about in one of the other videos, sometimes life will put you in a position where something that you're not prepared for will hurt you the most. So, like I said, like being in clubs, being in, I don't know, in public places, being in certain things where you don't have access to a weapon and you need to defend yourself, you need to know martial arts. You need to know how to shoot a gun, and you need to know how to box. And the reason why I mentioned boxing is because if you have a knife, like if you're very good with boxing, you could be a very good knife fighter. They kind of correlate pretty well. Reflexes, feints, touches, things like that, securing arms, things like that. You need to know how to do all that. That's very important because, again, like if you're super confident and you're in shape and all that other stuff, if you have no clue how to defend yourself, bro, when shit goes down, you're a fish out of water. Be as dangerous as possible. I personally feel, and I'm being like PG with it, but honestly, I feel like you should be able to kill somebody any way that you need to. Point blank, period. If someone's playing with your daughter, if someone's playing with your wife, if someone's fucking with you, if you're in danger, you should be able to kill that person any way that you need to in that point in time. So you need to learn how to go fight, do a martial art. The martial arts I would recommend, I'll give you 5. I'd say boxing, jiu-jitsu, wrestling, Muay Thai, and the last one I'd say certain types of kickboxing. There's some of the kickboxing now, it's not the same as what it used to be. But if you learn from like a legitimate, like a like Dutch kickboxing and stuff like that, where they actually teach you how to actually fight, that'd be really good. I know somebody's gonna get here and ask about Krav Maga and all that other shit. Like, it's cool, I guess. I don't know. I mean, look, you learn the martial art, with the exception of like karate and stupid shit like that, and like taekwondo, like you using a practical martial art will defend you against most people, because most people don't know how to fight anyway. But in the off chance that like you have somebody who's kind of athletic and has been in fights before, shit like Krav Maga, that's not gonna work. Like, that'll work on like someone who's just a mean dickhead and they just looking for somebody to fuck with. Like, that's different. It'll work on them because they don't know how to fight anyway. But if you got somebody who like fights regularly, like there's people who I know that who didn't really know how to fight. Well, no, I'm not saying that. There's people I know that just never trained a martial art, but they're really good fighters, or they've been in a lot of fights, right? And the more you do something, the better you'll get at it. Like, before I even got into martial arts, like, because I fought so much as a young kid, it was just, when I started doing it, it was a natural thing. Like, a big thing I've noticed, especially now that I do jiu-jitsu, even back when I did wrestling and stuff, like, a big thing is a lot of people aren't very aggressive. So you kind of got to, like, coach that into them a little bit. That was no problem for me. For me, it was a technique shit. When I was wrestling, I used to win some matches of people who I knew were better than me. But I'm with the shits. Fuck it. Look, if I can't beat you normal, I'm gonna go at you like a bat out of hell. Fuck it. I already had the aggression part down pat. So when I started learning technique, that's when everything kind of correlated together. But like, so if you do something enough, you'll get good at it. And you'll have little tells about things. Like, I can kind of tell when someone's getting ready to swing on me or something like that, just from, experience. So be as dangerous as possible. That's number one. That's really important. That's something that you need to. And it's not important until it is important, right? And that's what I was talking about with the life putting you in situations. Like, when it comes a time when you need to defend yourself and you can't. I don't even want y'all to get in that position. So, if you don't know how to fight, if you don't know how to shoot, especially the shooting part, like, I'm not saying that because you're a martial artist and you go to the gym that you should know how to shoot guns. You should definitely know how to shoot guns. You should know how to shoot a handgun. You should know how to shoot a rifle. Know the safety rules, all that stuff. You should be able to aim to a certain extent. Like all of that is very important. And by the way, get a license for a gun. You know what I mean? If you live in a state that you can't have one, get a license for a gun. And if you're in a state where you can't really buy guns, if you're in like a California, Connecticut, New York, those like the 3 big ones. New Jersey. If you're in like one of those states where it's hard to get your hands on guns, it is super duper 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 important for you to know how to fight. That's even if you're in any of those states, and like most of the world's population are in those states. Like I think the only other state that has the most people is I think Texas. Like Texas has like the other, but those most people in America live in those 5 states. That is super important. I mean, not most people in America. They have the highest population numbers than most states. I'd say that. Like that's important. You need to know how to fight there, definitely. Cause I'm saying right now, if you one of them dudes, I'm just gonna blow the 30. I'm just gonna, shoot whoever. All right. Let me tell you something. I got a buddy that shot somebody who broke into his house, and I think I mentioned this in the last video, but they was trying to prosecute him, and he didn't shoot him in his back. He shot him in his torso. So if you think you just gonna go out and be blowing at motherfuckers because y'all was arguing, you not gonna do jail time. All right, and a lot of these motherfuckers be soft anyway. A lot of y'all ain't even been in the fucking fight before, but now you just this fucking OG Mac, super big triple OG killer, and you can shoot whoever plays with you. Shut the fuck up. I ain't even talking to y'all goofies, but that's a funny way to end the video. But anyhow, so I'm gonna get on the second part. I'm gonna put this one out probably first, and then the second one will come after, a little loud, maybe like a week later. But man, I appreciate y'all for listening. Like, comment, subscribe. You know what I mean? All the support, everything like that. But yeah, it's Pt.1 Reaper training. Y'all be easy.